the early decisions that we've made, that you're starting to see some restoration of America's standing in the world.
There have been times where America's shown arrogance and been dismissive, even derisive. The United States is still working through some of our own darker periods in our history. We've at times been disengaged, and at times we've sought to dictate our terms. We have to acknowledge potentially we've made some mistakes. That's how we learn. Unfortunately, faced with an uncertain threat, our government made a series of hasty decisions. In other words, we went off course.
My next guest says President Obama has worsened the U.S.'s standing in the world versus 8 years ago. It is the subject of his new book, A Dangerous Doctrine. Author and Pepperdine University political scientist Robert Kaufman is with me now. Robert, welcome. What was the most surprising part of your research and conclusions while you were working on the book?
What was surprising and disturbing is how consistent President Obama has been in blaming America's problems on American power rather than the threat our enemies pose. So that's the guiding thread throughout all of President Obama's foreign policy. He's literally the opposite of Ronald Reagan, who believed he was an ordinary man leading an exceptional nation. Reagan was half right. He was extraordinary. President Obama believes American power is the problem rather than the great protector of American interest and freedom. And that's why we are in such a predicament. The danger is growing. And
the more you travel and speak with other people in other parts of the world, you realize they would prefer, actually, not that it makes a difference, but American power versus Chinese power or Russian power or Iranian power. Which brings me to my next point. Iranian military boats coming treacherously close to U.S. warships in the Strait of Hormuz, Russian planes buzzing U.S. naval carriers. Do you think that the bad actors are coming out before President Obama leaves office?
I do, and this is something that we are reaping what President Obama has sown. Instead of backing Democratic friends and relying on deterrence of rogue regimes, President Obama has perversely abandoned friends like Poland, the Czech Republic, and Israel in favor of engaging enemies such as Iran. And our enemies are now concluding that American deterrence is eroded. It's not only eroded rhetorically, but President Obama has literally downsized the American defense budget precipitously so that we're on course to have a Navy smaller than what we had prior to World War I, woefully unprepared, an Army smaller than what we had before World War II, woefully unprepared. American allies, especially in Asia, want us to do more. And President Obama still cannot acknowledge the threat of Islamic radicalism. He's underestimated the threat of Putin, and he treats China as a normal rather than a hegemonic regime trying to achieve dominance in the world's most important geopolitical region. Our allies are quaking in fear, hoping we will do more. Right. But President Obama is impervious to the evidence.
Robert, come back. I want to talk more about the book.